Welcome to Ninon Speaks. I'm your host, Ninon de Rosa, and my co-host is AJ Dean. Sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Ninon Speaks. I'm Ninon de Rosa, and we have another show on its way. And as you know, we usually have two guests, which we have today. I don't normally introduce the guests. I let my co-host, AJ Dean, do that. But I just want to give a shout out to all our audience out there. Also to Pinewood Studios and these Laurel Awards. We've just received 3 of them, and I'm absolutely delighted because we are a new show. We've been going for just over a year and 1 month. And the reason it was started was the COVID thing, because we didn't know where we were going or what was happening. So we thought, let's just plow in and take on a show on the internet. And now a year and 1 month later, we get these awards. So thank you, Pinewood. Thank you, everybody, and whoever was involved. Amazing. And now I'm going to take you over to AJ, my co-host and producer, and she's going to introduce these 2 lovely ladies.
Yes, thank you so much, Ninon, and congratulations on those Laurel Awards at the Film Festival in Pinewood Studios. We have 2 lovely ladies today, the gorgeous singer, musician, and actress, currently working on the motion picture Metronome, Emerald Khan, and the beautiful and talented Kimberly Skyrme, director, producer, writer, casting director, who has been in the film industry for 30 years. She's a wonderful expert, and she is also working on the motion picture Metronome. Welcome, ladies. Hello.
How are you both? You both look amazing. I don't know, Emerald, Kimberly, who am I going to go to first? Well, let's go over to Emerald. Let's see.
I'm just trying to keep up with you.
Well, you know, it's amazing not in this day and age, but it's amazing to see 2 women like you in the entertainment business, and especially the movie business, that are not up and coming, but have come up the ranks as of being a woman. That's a tough ride, but it's obviously not tough for either one of you. Emerald, how has this been for you in the industry?
Working with Kimberly has been absolutely amazing. She is highly gifted, talented. She's very driven. So it has been quite the experience. If I ever have the opportunity to continue working with her, I definitely will follow her everywhere. As far as with my career, I love the fact that I'm able to do 2 things that I enjoy and love to do, such as singing and acting in the same production and in different places at the same time. So I love the story. I'm grateful to be a part of this. And yeah.
I think it's amazing that, whenever I think of singing and dancing at one time, I seem to go back in years when we had all these film, the musicals and so, which we don't seem to have as much now. We haven't dismissed them completely, but they're not the same as what they used to be. They used to be such an extravaganza. So to hear you, Emerald, saying you're able to sing and dance and also obviously act.
Don't dance, just the singing and acting. If you want a good laugh, Miss Ninon, you better ask me to dance, because I'll give you a good show. I tell you, you'll be laughing.
I would like to ask you to dance right now, but I don't think we're prepared for that one. Next time.
Well, there'll be a little bit of movement in it. So she's
but a
doing
whole lot of movement. Yeah, but we got to really have the movement going. Well, Kimberly, why did you take on? Well, congratulations with your career, first of all, of what you've achieved and what you've done. I happen to know the struggle you've been through, because I'm obviously a woman like you, and it's never been really easy, though I never thought it was hard. So I kind of, challenge them against me. Kind of sometimes.
Well, I agree with you in that way, that while it's challenging, but I don't think I looked at it like a challenge I couldn't overcome. Anything that's worth doing is challenging. I just think women have to work harder, and we do. We don't give up. And I just had amazing mentors, I must say. So although I started, as we said, 30 years ago, which is hard to imagine because it's just, the job still feels new and exciting. But I saw a lot of very famous male directors. So it didn't occur to me at 26 years old, although I focused on directing when I was a theater major, that I too could be a film director. But through all these amazing mentorships, I think, again, everything goes as it should. And we just have to learn a lot, and that foundational learning from all these other male directors. Now that I found a whole number of scripts that I just really want to direct and their stories I want to tell, I think I'm more well equipped to do it now than I would have been 25 years ago anyway. So I think, again, life is as it should be. And I just look forward to it. So I've been happily climbing along the way, even though it is challenging.
Yeah, when you get a script, obviously you're given a lot of scripts because of where your position is right now. How do you choose the one that you kind of attach yourself to? That feeling that, oh, I can do this. I can get the actors. I can get this whole thing together.
Well, as I mentioned, I was a theater major in college, and particularly Lillian Hellman and Eugene O'Neill were two of my favorite playwrights. And I think there was a lot of messages underneath the actual text that were there. So there was a bit of a social commentary and some social messaging under the guise of entertainment. So I find that scripts that are written like that, screenplays that have the obvious information just to the apparent reader and the apparent viewer, but those who like to dig deep, that there's a lot of other messages going on. So those are the ones that are particularly appealing to me, because I want to make social change. There's plenty of movies out there, but we all have to pick something that's important to us. And for me, an opportunity to create social change through filmmaking is nothing more wonderful that I could be doing.
Emerald, going over to you, Kimberly's mentioning social change. And I think social change comes every day, personally. I think it's different things come up. To you, in social change, what would you like to see in social change in the industry?
Honestly, being a minority woman with, a variety of what may or may can be considered as either a superpower or a disability. That's something that I'd like to see more diversity into, as well as something where it's, if you can't, as long as it's not hindering someone from doing their job, then it shouldn't matter at all. And, that's something I'm always very passionate about, because there have been moments where I was looked over for various reasons, neither here nor there, but seeing another person that
what were those various reasons?
Well, I'll just say that when it's interesting when a person is classified or typecast, like sometimes it can be, I just don't fit it, and that's fine. But if I do fit the role, if I am good, and then there is a little bit of talk that's like, oh, did you see her so-and-so and so? And then it comes into something that just is probably inappropriate, then that makes a difference, because it weighs on a person, especially when you're nearby and you hear something of this nature. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there, because it's interpreted differently for everyone. So I don't really want to speak on that. I will want to speak on, sometimes it's tough to train somebody to do your job.
But you do it so differently,
when you're teaching someone to do the job that you wanted to do, and it's your job. So, you know what I mean? Things like that happen, and it's okay. I mean, this is business. And if somebody feels like they're better, then they're better. And it's kind of that way. So that's just my perspective. I definitely would like to see a little bit more, and some questions that I feel, being a person that's hard of hearing, being comfortable, being able to say that, and be okay without making it be a problem. Like, oh, Emerald's not going to be able to sing this song because she can't hear. Nope, just get me a pair of monitors. I'll be fine. I know exactly what I need. It's not going to do where my
Emerald, I'll get back to you in a minute, Kimberly, but Emerald, you just touched my heart. Dr. Howard House, I don't know if you know him, was actually on my board for Kids Talk Foundation. And he dealt with, the hearing impaired and everything else. And I actually did a show from my other company, Voices of Tomorrow, of children that had hearing impaired. And everybody said to me, well, you can't have them on. They don't know what to say. And I said, of course they know what to say. Of course they know what to do. That was the second show I did with Voices of Tomorrow. And I gave them that platform. And it won an award. And it was one of the most beautiful shows. And then I did another show where the children were blind. And then I repeated the blind show about 10 years later. And I walked into the room and this girl turned around and said, oh, that's Ninon. And don't forget she can't see. And because she recognized the voice. So when you talk about a lot of the disabilities, I think it's amazing to try to open that up and to give them that opportunity to be able to, because they're just the same as anybody else. That in fact, sometimes they're better, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, especially if it's something that's not preventing someone from doing a job. You know what I mean?
I do. So, I know it well. I know it well in the film business. I know it very well in the film business, because there was another woman, I forget her name now, and she said, I got her to be the ambassador for some big company. And she said, Nina, why did you do this to me? Because she had a disabled child, autistic child. And I said, well, why not? You can learn and get all these people. And of course, she got her child into the movies and everything. So, Kimberly, what do you think of all this with the disabilities? I mean, you know, these to have just as much advantage as anybody else?
Well, having had the good fortune of just one experience, that I think there's things that people don't necessarily think about, is thinking outside the box and giving people these opportunities. I've had the pleasure of being at Gallaudet University, which is the university that is for deaf students. And there is an animation studio that's in-house there called Pigmental Studios. And to see at work a career that people wouldn't necessarily have thought about, but to do animation, you don't need to hear anything. It's all about seeing and tactile and visual. So to have, have had the owner think outside the box, it is amazing to have put the studio there so she could be teaching a new skill to students that, again, they may not have been exposed to that otherwise. So we all can have an opportunity to find a new path, but you have to be introduced to these things.
We also all have a
box and introducing, anybody to anything you can find.
Absolutely. We all have a disability of some kind. I'm sure I like a few floating around. But I'm
severely dyslexic with numbers and with letters, and I just always thought I was bad at math and was a terrible speller. And fortunately, because I'd been studying education before I was studying, that I figured it out myself years later. And then someone said to me very recently, well, how have you survived with that? And I said, well, nobody diagnosed me, so I had no idea. I had something wrong. So I just thought I was bad at math, and I thought I was a terrible speller. So I Google everything or look at a dictionary to spell things right. And I just double check all of my math. So, I think you find ways to adapt to any of it. So I think
it's funny, you find ways, but the funny part is if you know you can't do something as well as maybe you think everybody else can, you divert into a place where you can learn something else and another way to get around it. Yes. And how you work that is to get around it. Then you know that, and then you all of a sudden know it all. And then you become smarter than the other people because you've taken the time to actually learn something in another way.
Right, because you're finding the workarounds. I think that's what they call it in technology, workarounds.
Workaround. Now, did you two get together for this? Go ahead, Emerald, go ahead.
I just wanted to add something real quickly before we lose this place.
Quickly, go ahead.
Things like when I lost my hearing, it was from an accident a few years ago. So in retraining, what I learned to do, and this has made a huge difference in my performance today, it's not just working around it, but it's in using everything. Because now on this side, I hear primarily using the sound of feeling, like the vibration. Whereas on this side, I hear immensely well. It's like mega massive super ear of hearing. So it's awesome because now in the studio, I'm noticing a huge difference. And in my performance, I've learned to not just adapt, but really emphasize and make something better than it was before. And so I just wanted to throw that in there.
It's enhanced your performance as opposed to become a liability. Yes. Because you found a way.
Because she recognized you recognized the ability you had, not the ability you didn't have. Yes. So you enhanced on one, and it's like, one side, you've got a left brain and a right brain, and they're supposed to work together, but they apparently do not. Mine rarely work anytime. But AJ, because this has kind of turned into a different show, talking about, we're still show business. But AJ, what do you feel about this?
I love it. I think they are superpowers. I think Emerald has superpowers. I think dyslexia, the superpower that Kimberly has, same thing. And I think, Emerald, do you have a very special serenade for Ninon?
I do. I do.
So let's go for it.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I was just in Las Vegas and I look forward to coming back out again. And in the spirit of Vegas, I would like to perform one of my favorites from our classic and our favorite man with the blue eyes.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Tall and tan and young and handsome, the boy from Ipanema goes dancing. And when he passes, each girl he passes goes. What do they say, ladies? Yes. When he walks, he moves like a samba. It swings so cool, he sways so gentle that when he passes, each girl he passes goes. Ooh, Ninon, I know you saw him, but I watch him so sadly. How can I tell him I love him? Yes, I would give my heart gladly. But each day as he walks to the sea, he looks straight ahead, not at me. Girl, can you believe it?
No.
Tall, fat, young and handsome, the boy from Ipanema goes dancing. And when he passes, I smile, but he doesn't see.
Do you know, do you want to know something really funny? You want to really know? This was my husband. I was married to him for 29 years and he passed away. This was his favorite song and he always sung this song to me. And it was a song, it was our song. Is that not amazing? That was our song.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Thank you.
Beautiful. You've got a beautiful voice, and also to be able to just, sing out and without, the orchestra, whatever. I always admire that. And I have another show called Vegas Live with Ninon here in Vegas. So when you come to Vegas, you're going to come on my show as a guest. Come on my show. But when I have singers on, I always ask them, I said, and I do it, they don't even know I'm going to do it. And I say, you're going to sing me couple of lines or something? They always do, because they have to. It's funny, Kimberly, but don't people have to do something on the spot? I mean, if there's a director there, a producer there, a talent there, and they say, oh, can you rap a little bit? Or can you sing a little bit? Or can you say these lines? They have to do that, right?
Yes, they have to be prepared to just roll with it, because you never know.
They can't say no because this is their business.
And if they do say no, I mean, that does say something about them, that maybe they're a little timid, they're a little nervous, they're not ready to just dive in. So to just dive in says a lot about, particularly in the entertainment business, that you're just ready to, pull your sleeves up and dive in.
So let's talk about, Kimberly, what you've got coming up. You've got this movie coming up. What have you got coming up?
Well, I think first to talk about, since Emerald and I are here on the show together, is we are working on Metronome. And I think you started to ask a question of how did we come together to do this? So we all are living in a world of the new world of Clubhouse. And I love as a storyteller, I like when it's very organic and I use my intuition. And so just being in rooms in Clubhouse, very specifically, we'll give Brian Rader a shout out because he had this great room, Rader's Coffee Talk on Clubhouse. And because of your exact point, that because he found out that Emerald was a singer, he said, well, would you like to sing? And wisely, she said yes. So numerous times when I was in his room, he would always ask and she would always oblige and say yes, and she would sing. So after I heard her sing several times, one of the numerous projects that was on my desk is a film called Metronome. And there's a lead female who needed to be a vocalist. And after hearing the music, and we're still in the process of funding, but I thought, well, why not? I mean, I need a vocalist. I can see her picture. Never met, mind you. I've only heard her voice singing and speaking, but I've seen the one photo of her. And I thought, I think she'd be an amazing Michelle. Let me just send the script. And to set an actor up for success, why pick a scene? Let me see what resonates most with her. So I send off the entire script, and wisely, she of course read the whole script. And I said, pick something that resonates with you. I got amazing scenes back and thought, let me just move this along, even though we're still in the funding and not really at casting yet. Why not? Because again, I was so inspired and my intuition was telling me to do so. So I then say, well, let's have a meeting with the executive producer. And it was working out perfectly in that she was also going to be in New Jersey and the film was taking place in Philadelphia. So I said, we have to do this Zoom audition. And then the night before, I remember about a year ago, I had a young guy who was really interested in the lead male role, who read the script and said, I'd love to audition when you get to that place. So I thought, well, although it's 8:00 the night before, we're going to do the Zoom audition, let me just see if he'll jump on and audition with Emerald tomorrow. So naturally, he being a wise actor said, of course. So,
smart move. Smart move.
I know. So the two of them got on. Again, they had never met either. It was only just brief interaction the night before and the morning of their audition. And they just brilliantly,
did they mold together?
Amazingly. So the writer was over the moon, the executive producer was over the moon. And the big deal with the executive producer is this story is chronicling his life. So he was really seeing some young actor playing him back in his 20s, and then getting to see a young actress playing this woman, Michelle, who I get chills even telling the story, who was so influential in his life and falling in love with jazz and just starting to understand jazz. So he was just mesmerized. Weepy, and the writer weepy, because on top of it all, they happened to pick the writer's favorite scene in the movie, which was this great conversation that they were having while they were in the car. So it just worked out famously, and not in normal film,
Well, it sounds to me like it was all meant to be. I mean, you've got two young people nobody knows. You've got two young people coming together, reading a part that they don't even know each other, and putting all this together. It's funny how in this world some things become so natural and so, I don't want to say easy, because I know your job isn't easy. You still got to try to get everything together, but this became easier for you. But because of your experience and because of everything you put into it, you recognized two people.
Yes, that it was just magic.
It was just, but you made the magic, though.
Yes.
Kimberly, you made it.
I brought it all together.
What do you think that is? Well, let's give you a compliment. Take it.
Thank you. It was just impeccable. And then she was going to be, Emerald was going to be in New Jersey. It just worked out perfect. So we shot 2 days, got some amazing footage, and just a lot of pieces are coming together for it. And I think that's because it's a story that needs to be told. It's a great fish out of water, and just people finding their own way in a new culture that, he was grown up in one place, but yet this new jazz culture was just something that really sparked just a personal growth in him. So yeah, it's just going to be an amazing film. And I'm just so happy that
is it about the music industry, and is it about jazz, and is it about him in that business?
Interestingly, it's a real fish out of water story in that, Harry, the real person, the character Alex, was raised in a very specific culture in the main line of Philadelphia, but then found his way in life from a very different culture, which was the jazz scene in the 90s in Philadelphia. And then the two owners, two brothers who opened this jazz club, that they really took him under his wing. So he had his real father, but then he had these new, jazz club fathers. And then Michelle was a huge influence too. And so it started a whole new trajectory for his life, because he had been in business school. So again, he could have ended up just being your standard, go get an MBA business person. And now he's been influenced by music and just a whole journey with all the stuff that goes on, in any kind of club scene. And then his journey through all of that and how it affected
his journey through all of that, he decided to write a book, right? Obviously. Did he write a book, or was it just a screenplay he wrote?
It came to a screenplay. And again, his life is quite prolific. There's about 6 screenplays. This is just one of the many. It's chronicling some of the various different stories, but a lot of other just meant to be's. There was another actress that I asked to be in, our 2-day shoot. And as I shared the script with her, she said, Zanzibar Blue is the first club I ever went to in Philadelphia when I was in my 20s.
All these coincidental things that are
amazing
happening.
Coincidences.
Amazing.
And then another great actor from Philadelphia who I had cast in House of Cards, Christopher Mann, that I had no idea. I cast him as the Secretary of Energy. So I had no idea he was even a singer. But so then as we're shooting and, Emerald obviously playing the singer in the film, And we just had a little interchange with them at the bar. And then he starts singing back to her and she's singing back to him. So then I got to find out more about him. And knowing that, I said, no, let's keep doing that because we're going to work it in. Like the two of you know each other so well that you have a little song that you do back and forth. So there was just so much magic that came out of the 2 days that it's only becoming more magical as we get to shoot the whole film.
Emerald, when you were chosen for this part, did you actually feel that this was kind of, that you could play this because it was kind of you, and it was kind of, you really don't have to put really much effort, which you're going to put a lot of effort, I know, but I mean, because you've already got the gift of playing this part and being this person?
I think that was a moment where I felt proud of what I do, because a lot of people sleep on what I do as a jazz and a blues singer. And so you know what I mean? It's like, yes. Oh, and that's why I do multi-genre, but my concentration is there. So it made me feel really proud of what I'm doing. I get to tell a piece of jazz history.
Yeah.
You know, it's like meeting, for me, it's like being able to perform an orchestrated piece from Duke Ellington. I just feel connected to what I love, you know, and I'm grateful that I have the experience so that I can really be able to give the jazz, the vocalist side of the story.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I meant. It was because you're able to put in what you already have. Yes. And Kimberly can. I know we just lost Kimberly. I don't know where she went, but she just vanished. She'll be back. But there you came back again, Kimberly. Kimberly, I'm just going to divert this whole thing again. You mentioned something about the House of Cards. Mm-hmm. Were you involved in that?
I was. I did work on the first 3 seasons of House of Cards.
Really? And how was that?
Oh, it was amazing. I think my biggest joy is, I started working in television. I really predominantly worked in features. So I'm, again, just fascinated by series. But I think my biggest kind of success of it is that each of the seasons, it was 70 local people, many of which I had known for many years, that I was able to get jobs for actors. I mean, that's the joyous part of casting, which is why we'll never get old. So 30 years later, it's still new, because each month, each week, each year, it's more and more people.
Everything is, well, it's creating, because in the movie industry, in the singing industry, and the entertainment industry, you are forever creating, you're forever putting new stuff out there. And this really keeps you young. I mean, you know, I'm trying the same old thing as you're all trying. Stay young. You don't have to worry, Emerald. You're still young enough. But it's funny.
Eternal. I just got to keep up with you ladies. You just keep looking better with grace. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, thank you. Well, accept that. But you two have done it exceptionally well. It's absolutely amazing. What's the biggest thing, or the thing that you've really achieved, Kimberly, that you really, you said, this is it. This is what I wanted?
Wow, what an interesting question. And ironically, I think the biggest thing I'll say that I achieved, because I was able to actually have dinner this evening. I'm at home in Connecticut visiting family, and we were able to have dinner with my reading teacher from junior high school, that we're still friends with them after all these years.
After all this reading time.
and of course, my favorite thing when I was studying to be a teacher was story time. So it's no surprise that here I am in a storytelling business, but it was... So the biggest thing I think I've accomplished was the mental shift from being a casting director and a producer, which is really creating a platform and opportunity for everyone else to succeed, correct, to shift to that it was okay to be the director and rally all of that around me having an opportunity to be the chief creative officer. And I feel that for many years, I thought it was selfish if I did that, because I really love to put other people in a position for success. And I was somehow forgetting to let myself.
And you were able to do that, but you were able to bring other people, friends and people you liked, and to bring them in, as well as choosing the talent to make sure what you're doing is going to come out how you want it, and it's going to come out really, really big. Over to you, Emerald. What about you? What is the greatest thing that you've kind of achieved? I mean, I can just think off the top of my head talking to you for a short while. There's many of them. What is for you the greatest you've achieved?
The biggest and the greatest moment that I will never forget. Actually, there's 2 top big ones, but the one that I will choose for this discussion is not only attending the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right, one year, and performing at a variety of pre-dinner receptions, but during one of those performances, a very special thing happened. Mrs. Sheila Johnson, she is one of the co-founders of BET, and she heard me singing at a production, and my saxophonist, and she asked us to come out and open her equestrian resort in Virginia for the 4th of July weekend.
Oh my.
And so to have Miss Sheila Johnson pick me out of all of the amazing A-list people, she picked me, and she got on stage with me during the performance. Okay, she had a great time. Here we are. Yes, it's a moment I would never forget.
I'm going to quickly, because we've got a couple of minutes. How can anybody reach you, Emerald?
You can find me anywhere, wherever you look for something, you can find me, honey. I'll be waiting for it. If you go to Google, I'm there. If you go to Safari, I'm there. Emerald like the jewel, Khan like Shaka like Genghis, or on social media.
Okay, look out for Emerald Khan. Kimberly, how about you?
I think the easiest thing probably is on Instagram. It's Kimberly Skyrme, and you can obviously send direct messages there, and I will actually see those. And you can find out information about Metronome. And of course, I'm also doing films in my home state of Connecticut called Christmas in New England. And you can see as those things are starting to pan out. And yeah, so you can see lots of
AJ, I want some words with you. We haven't had much out of you, but I'd like you to give some last words here. We don't have much time.
Oh, thank you so much, Ninon. It's an honor and a privilege to work with you, my mentor, my favorite friend, and the best boss in the world. I'm so proud of Kimberly and Emerald. We are proud of you for all of your achievements, and you're just absolutely beautiful ladies. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank everybody out there. I'd like to thank my guests, Kimberly and Emerald. Absolutely amazing story, because it has not been easy for them, but they have disregarded all the things that were hard for them, and they chose to go take that ladder and keep going up each rung at a time. And you've all done it, and you've done it beautifully, and you've maintained as still being two women in the business, which I think is absolutely amazing. I also want to thank.
We're only just getting started.
Getting started, right? Look, I just came from the studio today. We finished 3 songs. Like I promise there's a lot of great things that are happening. I'm really excited about all of this.
I'm excited.
Platform. Thank you for this platform too.